This is Sherry. Welcome to my journey in clay. Today we're going to be making a salt pig. A salt pig is a really good project for using mugs that didn't turn out perfect. You can of course use mugs that are the mug shape, that is, that are perfect. But if you have one that's a little wobbly, maybe not quite even on the rim, as long as you can trim it, you can still use it for a salt pig. So let's get started. So we have our mug, and the mug has been trimmed already. So we're going to start with a trimmed mug, and we're just going to gently push it down to get it a little bit flat on the bottom so that it will stay like this on its side. Not completely on its side. It's still got a little bit of a tilt there. But inside there's it's a little bit flat on the bottom there. And the only thing about trimming, you can trim your mug as normal, but do try to get it as rounded as you can towards the bottom when you're trimming it. So now I have a rolled out piece of clay. It's about 1/4 inch, but it can be a little bit thinner, and that would be okay too. So for the salt pigs that I make, this is how I do it. You can make whatever kind of changes you want. I like to put ears on the pig, and so what I do for my ears, I take a square cutter, and I put the plastic wrap on top to keep the edges smooth, and then make the cut with the square cutter. And then once I remove that square, then I'm going to take my plastic wrap and smooth the edges a bit. Now I'm just sort of, peeling away some of those extra pieces. This is really the only piece that I'm going to really need to cut out. A little bit on the edge there, I got to get rid of. All right, so now I'm just going to smooth the edges. And then once I get these edges smoothed, what I'm going to do, and again, I'm smoothing it and smoothing both sides of the square. Then I'm going to get my knife and I'm going to make a diagonal cut to cut the piece in two. So I'll have 2 triangles here. Again, you don't have to do it this way, but this is what I found works for me. Now, once I get these 2 pieces cut, I could just use them as they are, but I like to give a little bit of depth, a little bit to show that it's an ear, a little bit of an outside line. So I take one of my wooden tools and I just make a mark along the edge, maybe less than 1/4 inch, maybe like 1/8 of an inch or so, and just make a line from the edge like a V. And this is just to give the ear a little more interest, make it look, a little bit more like an ear. Then I'm going to scratch the bottom. I'm going to scratch it well. You do want to get these ears on pretty well because we're going to curve them. And so it's one of the, I've noticed making them in the past, that's one of the weak points. You want to make sure the ends of these ears are firmly attached. So I'm going to bend my ear a little bit. Well, bend the pig's ear a little bit. And then I'm going to put some vinegar on it. I don't normally scratch the mug itself because I find that I frequently just get the wrong place. For me, it just seems to work out better to do it this way. So I'm going to place the ear towards the back, but not all the way in the back, and bend it around so that it curves. And then I'm going to just press down, get my other ear and do the same thing. So you think about your placement of your ears. So I have my one ear on the side. I just want to make sure that they meet in the center. There can be a little space between or not, as long as they kind of line up that way. And again, just pushing down, So you want to push down those edges. I kind of take the whole ear and hold on to it and push it down. And then to get the back, I need to just keep compressing on the back of those ears. And now we have the ears attached. I didn't show all of the compression, but I just smoothed it and smoothed it and smoothed it until I got a good adhesion. So now we have our pig with the ears. And the next thing we want to do is give the pig a little tail. So I am going to use my, well, actually, I'm ahead of myself. I'm not going to do the tail yet. I'm going to do the little feet. So for the little feet, I'm going to make 2 balls of clay, the same size. So usually, sometimes it takes me more than 2, but in this case, we'll just take a little bit of that clay away, and then I have my 2 feet. Like sort of push them together a little bit. Whoops, changed my mind. That one needs just a little bit more, so I add a little bit. And just roll it and roll it and roll it until it's smooth. Then I push them together just a little bit, not to join them, but just so that when I attach them that they'll be together. But turn my little pig over to the bottom and then scratch. And I want to go back a little bit from the lip of the mug. I don't want it too close to the mug because I'm going to, when I glaze it, I'm going to be dipping that rim in. Now I'm going to scratch the feet where they're going to be attached also. Get my trusty vinegar, and then this is where I try to keep those legs together so that I can get the whoops. Well, let's try this again. All right, now we're going to push, and I'm just holding it from both sides, pushing it down a little bit. I want to flatten them a little bit. All right, there we have our little legs. And I usually make a V on this just to make it look more like pig feet. And then again, the same tool. And then I'll hold the pig down and just sort of press to make sure that it is going to be flat, because sometimes they also have a tendency to kind of bend backwards. So I want to make sure that it stays level. Now we're ready for that little pigtail. So I use an extruder to make the pigtail. You can just roll a little coil of clay. That's fine too. I just use extruder because, it's neater and easy. So I'll scratch the very back behind the ears there in the middle. And since this clay is soft, it's going to be super easy to attach. I put some vinegar, and then I don't want the tail too long. And then it's very, I'll squish it against the body of the pig here and then just swirl it around a little bit so that it looks kind of twirly like a pig's tail. And again, you can just do this with a little coil of clay. You don't have to use an extruder. Now we're going to do the eyes. Now, for the eyes, I've done them several different ways. I've done them one on each side. I kind of like, though, the look of having 2 right in the middle. It gives them kind of a little googly look. I'm going to use white clay. You don't have to use white clay. You could also just use regular clay, and then when you're glazing your pig, just put additional glaze color on the eyes, and you can come up with all kinds of combinations. In this case, I'm going to do the white clay because I have some, and I'm going to make the 2 eyes. Now here, I haven't really had much trouble with the eyes coming off, but I'm gonna go ahead, I haven't scratched where the eyes are gonna go, and since the clay is white clay, maybe, you know, I just wanna make sure it attaches well. So I'm gonna do a little bit of scratch on each of the eyeballs. Gently place it on, push a little bit, same with the other eye. And I just kind of gently push them down. I don't want them to lose too much shape, but they don't really need to stay totally round either. Okay, so here we have my little salt pig. One other thing that I usually do, because the bottom is kind of flat there, I kind of want to, after I sign it, that bottom part, I want to put a little something else on there just to, make it look good so it doesn't look so plain in the back. So I usually take a little piece of clay, roll it, and do a cutout. You can do a heart, you can do a flower, you can, um, I don't know, you can do a star. It doesn't really matter. You can do any kind of a little shape here. But I have some little cutters, and I am going to go ahead and do a heart shape for this one. Put my plastic wrap on. This little cutout does have a plunger, but that usually leaves a little mark. So I just use the plastic wrap and push down on it. And again, scratch, and then I will turn my pig upside down, scratch where I'm going to attach it, vinegar, and put the little heart on. Now I don't want to push down too hard on this, so I just gently push down, and then in this case the pig is not that big, so I can just put my finger from my other hand in and press against it. If you make your mug bigger, you can also just take like a dowel, a wooden dowel, or something else to push in from that other side if your hand won't fit. So there we go. Pig is ready. You can add some other cutouts onto the cheeks. Here's some that are already done. The one I just did, plus a couple others where I added a couple little hearts on the side, decorations. Okay, thanks for watching.